Okay, I got a couple of questions about the Desmos. So we're going to talk about a couple of these to kind of help you find these and plot these. So on this particular one, I'm not sure what slide it is. I think 6 maybe. We have an x-intercept, and our x-intercept here, these, it's hard to see on the screen, but you can see on your own screen. This would be 6, 0, so the x-intercept. Okay. Oh, sorry, I'm using the wrong thing to write. Okay. All right, our x-intercept is 6, 0. Our y-intercept is 0, 6. And our vertex is 4, -2. So one of the first things, you know that your AOS runs right through your vertex, and this is 2 away. So that means another x-intercept is going to be 2 away as well. So that would be another x-intercept at 2, 0. So you have basically an x at the +2 and a 6. So when we think about standard form of a parabola, we know it's ax squared plus bx plus c. Well, that's not in factored form. In factored form, it's actually y equals a times x plus something and x plus something, or minus, plus or minus, depending on the signs. So what goes in here is what we normally use to factor out to find the solutions. So let's say this was x plus 2. We would set that equal to 0. We'd know that x is -2. Well, we're looking for x being 2. That means in this form, this will have to be a -2. So let's put this equation in regular standard form. Y equals a. X, we have 1, 2, so we know it's going to be -2, because when we solve it set to 0, it's actually going to give us a +2. And then x minus 6. Now, we don't know the a. We actually know enough information to find the a, because we know some other points. So we can do a couple things. We can plug in what is easiest, the y-intercept, because that's saying when x is 0, y is 6. So we're going to substitute those in. So if I have 6, I'm still looking for a. I'm going to plug in 0, 0. And I got 0 minus 2, which I get a -2. 0 minus 6, I get a -6. And then multiply them. I get negative is a +12. And then times a equals 6. Then divide by 12, divide by 12. A is equal to 1/2. So now I can put my problem, instead of having a, I have 1/2 here. And then if you work this out, you have it in standard form. And you know what the a is, the b is, and the c is. So now we're going to talk about looking at, I believe it's slide 8. All right, so let's look at challenge 6. I believe this is slide 8. So with the green one, it's pretty simple. We know that our parent function for our parabola goes through 0, 0, if it's positive. So this would be like a y equals x squared. Well, this one's still opening up, but its vertex is going 1 down. So we know we just dropped it, so -1. That's easy. What gets hard are these other ones where they're moved over and up and down. Well, you know if they're opening up, it's going to be a positive x squared. So that makes these, you know that part's going to be positive. If they open down, you know that's going to be a negative. So how do we get those? So we're going to go back to the same kind of way that we did before. Now there's more than one way to do this. You're going to learn some different forms, and you've probably been exposed to a little bit of those on your cons that you've done for the vertex form. But we are going to use just the basic general form. So we'll clear some room here. We're going to look at finding it for B, the blue ones. So we're going to focus on the blue ones. So the first thing we need to know is, what are these points? So this point right here is an x-intercept and an x-intercept, and then our vertex. So our vertex here is 4, -2. And then we have x-intercepts that are -4 and -2. It's very hard to see on this picture. All right, so think about our general form. Y equals a x plus or minus something, and x plus or minus something. All right, so we know when we solve these, we got a -4 and a -2. So in our form, we have to have the opposite sign. So y equals a, this would be x plus 4 and x plus 2. Okay, we don't know what a is, but we have another point up here that we could use to find out what a is. So we're going to plug that in. So this is saying if we know our vertex, what our vertex is. Oh, sorry, that's not 4, that's a 3. 3 and 1. Gracious be, and not a negative. Let me fix that. Sorry. 3 and 1. All right. So we know what these are. So we know when this is plugged in for x's, we should get this output for y. All right. So I'm going to work over here to the side. I'm going to use a different color here so it's a little bit easier to see, hopefully. All right. So we have 1 is equal to a times -3, we're going to plug in for x, plus 4, and -3 plus 2. Now let's simplify and solve for a. So I'm going to go ahead and simplify and solve parentheses first. So we get a 1, and we get a -1. -1 times 1 is still a -1, and we're multiplying it times a, is equal to 1. Divide both sides by -1, -1, a is equal to -1. So now we can write it. I'll erase some of this so you can see. All right, so we're going to plug it in now as y equals -1, x plus 4, and x plus 2. Now let's simplify this. X times x squared, 2x plus 4x plus 8, and the whole thing times -1. So simplify down again, x squared plus 2x, plus 6x, combine those like terms, plus 8, all times -1, which really just changes the signs to -x squared minus 6x minus 8. And then that would be your answer, one of the forms that you could put in for the blue. So just knowing a couple points and then start seeing what's happening, you'll see an easier way to do it without having to plug in and solve. But this will get you started.